Hey lovelies, you're welcome back to Reviews and Recaps. Today we're going to be talking about Never Ever Met Season 1, Episode 6, Pushing Bed and Boundaries. So what I'll be doing today is talking about the key things I picked up from this episode, and we're going to break it down. So much happened and I want us to talk about it. If you're new to this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and tap that bell button right next to it so you know every single time that I post. And everyone, please like, share, and don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts. Okay, let's get into it. So the episode started, which was a continuation of Aaron arguing with Diamond's sister. I was watching it and I kept thinking, what in the ghetto mess is going on? These people were going back and forth with a rain of insults. Diamond's sister said something about Aaron's children, which was just out of order. But the thing I wanted to focus on is Aaron in particular, because he's the one that is trying to be in a relationship with Diamond, right? But before you guys come at me, first of all, let me call out the sister. The sister was hella wrong. The sister should not have been speaking the way she was speaking to him. Aaron was hella wrong as well. He should not have been speaking to her the way he was speaking to her. Now, because the focus is on the couples, Aaron and Diamond, I want to focus on talking about them in this episode. So let's talk about Aaron. Now, if I was Diamond, I would be concerned for a number of reasons. One of the reasons I would be concerned is this man had to be held back when he was going at Diamond's sister. That is hella aggressive. The fact that you have to be held back and pulled out and you're still trying to come back into her face and her presence, that is problematic. That shows that you're aggressive. You are also a problem. The way I like to think about it is how that man or woman treats other people is the way they are going to treat you when they're upset with you. And I think sometimes people forget that. And you think, oh, he's so sweet to me. I'm like, yes, because you're on his good side. Wait until you're no longer on his good side and he will come at you the same way he came at your sister. Like, how many times have we seen people who treat like the waiter, their family members, their friends really poorly? And you think, he's usually very sweet. I don't know why they bring this thing out of him. Give it a couple of weeks. When under the right circumstances or the wrong circumstances, they will come out. That behavior will come out and they would exhibit that behavior towards you. I always laugh when people think they're safe because like they haven't encountered that person, but that person is so aggressive to somebody else. I'll give you an example. There was a guy that was trying to talk to me a while back and I saw how he dealt with like the cab guy who was like struggling with directions, so he was a little late dropping me at the location, and how he was not really nice to the waiting staff. After that date, I just knew there's never going to be a second date, because the way you're treating all these people, you will treat me like that if you get the opportunity, because you are not going to get that opportunity, but if you get the opportunity. So I really hope Diamond is paying attention and not falling for it, so that this man is going to be anything less than who he is. Any man that gets in a woman's face and is basically acting like he's going to throw hands and square up with a woman is a lil B, in my opinion. I don't care if she was disrespectful. You can say your piece and say you're disrespectful. I'm not going to go back and forth with you. I'm going to leave this room. You speak about it to your sister and that's it. And even if he wanted to fight fire with fire, he could have had the conversation and basically said to her, stop doing this, whatever. He could have gone back and forth. But there's no reason for you to be getting aggressive to the point where another man is physically having to restrain you. That's a problem. I don't care if she talked about your mother, whoever it is. There is no reason for you to ever get to that extent in another woman's face. It shows that you have a problem. Now, was Diamond's sister wrong? Yes. Nobody should be out here talking about nobody's kids. And you shouldn't be disrespectful to a man or a woman. You shouldn't be disrespectful to anybody. But all I'm saying is, if Aaron did not have some type of anger issues, it would not have gotten to the point where he's having to be physically restrained. That's all I'm saying. Now, I will say that he did apologize for his behavior, but I think he just apologized because he knew that he needed to clean it up because Diamond is looking at him sideways. I personally did not get the impression that he was sorry at all, in my personal opinion. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Now, you guys know at the last episode, Chris and Millie sort of had a bit of a back and forth. Millie basically gave it to Chris. I will say that. And so Chris decided to pull Millie aside so he can have a conversation with her. What is interesting is Millie went off. She accused him of not taking accountability. I think for me, what I didn't like about the conversation with Chris and Millie is Millie absolutely looked unhinged. And the more I watch, I'm like, Millie is unhinged. Because Chris came to try to have a conversation. His temper, he was very calm in the way in which he was having the conversation with Millie. But I feel like there is something about Chris that Millie hates. I don't even think it's Chris. I think Chris reminds her of one of the people that she has encountered that has resulted in the trauma that she has experienced. It's like someone reminds you of someone who did something crazy to you, who may have AB'd you, for instance, or assaulted you, for instance. And I think that is what Chris represents to Millie. Because Chris was so calm in that conversation, but Millie went off. I think Millie also has a problem when she feels like she's not being heard. Because as soon as Chris got up to want to leave, Millie escalated it to an even higher level. She ended up calling him the B word yet again. Well, Chris responded and called her a slut. Now, I don't endorse calling names all across the board. I don't endorse a man calling a woman a slut. I don't endorse a woman calling a man a B. And I personally feel like it's one of those things where can we keep the name calling out of things and not call nobody out of their names? Because Millie, as far as I've seen, Chris hasn't done anything personally to you. You may not like the man. You may feel like he's narcissistic. You may feel like he's taking advantage of Sandia. But she is choosing to stay there. You don't have to fight her battles. And you've done your bit. You've spoken up. That's all that is required. There is no need for you to call him a B. There's no need for you to be calling him names. He's not even your man. How did it escalate to the point where he's walking off, you're calling him a B, he's calling you an S? Why did it have to get to that extent? And I'll be honest, the person I blame for it escalating is Millie. Millie escalated it. Chris came on a calm level. He was trying to have a calm conversation. Millie escalated it. I feel like we're seeing an example of what happens when someone is not yet healed. When someone has a lot of work to do, a lot of trauma that they have experienced that is unresolved. It is so important when you go through trauma, you have to work through it. You have to address it, tackle it head on. If not, you will be showing up like Millie and you will not know. Because I can almost bet that Millie feels justified in the way in which she acted, when in reality she shouldn't feel justified. But that's the result of some people you meet outside are behaving the way they are behaving because of the trauma that they have experienced. That is all it's about. And so I feel like we need to, when we've experienced something that has shaken or that shook the foundation of who we are, that has had any sort of impact, it's important that we get help. If not, we'll be showing up like Millie. I do hope that Millie watches this back and takes accountability and addresses that, you know what, I messed up and I shouldn't have behaved in the way in which I behaved. Now, let me re-emphasize in case I haven't already, Chris is hella wrong for calling her an S. You don't call her an S. I absolutely hate name calling across the board. So he shouldn't have called her an S. Millie shouldn't have called him a B. Now, let's talk about Aaron's dad coming in, the second Aaron, and Jody. So Aaron had a conversation with his dad initially to give him like a little bit of a scoop about who Jody is. He talked to his dad about the fact that Jody is a sexologist, which he finds a little intimidating. But his father encouraged him and basically said he needs to get to know Jody and what Jody likes, and he shouldn't be intimidated by what it is that she does. If anything, it's a plus because Jody will be vocal about what it is that she needs. Now, what I thought was then interesting was Aaron, the big Aaron, who is dating Diamond, decided to have a conversation with Aaron's dad about Jody. I absolutely hated that. I'm just like, what was the point in that? And he was really pushing his views about Jody. Now, let's not get it twisted. I don't believe for a second that Jody is into Aaron. I absolutely do not believe it. Jody acts like she's repelled by him. Jody acts like she hates him. So I do not believe for a second that she's into him. That is just my perspective, right? A lot of you guys probably will agree with me on this, but let me know what you guys think. Am I wrong? Let me know in the comment section below. Now, I do feel that the fact that Aaron is like to him, well, there's no connection there. And I know that, you will see her for who she is and all that kind of, there's no need for all of that. You're too heavily invested in what does not concern you. Leave the dad to make his own judgment. Now, what I noticed was that it had the opposite effect because Aaron's dad was already irritated by the fact that Aaron was speaking to him about Jody. And so when he came in, he was a bit like, seriously. And I think he decided to give her a fair shot. And in the end, it seems like Aaron's dad actually liked Jody. So I feel like what Aaron was trying to push and get out didn't actually happen. Now, can we take a second to talk about that salsa? Jody was having a good old time with Aaron's daddy. Like, Jody and Aaron's dad, they fit better than Jody and Aaron. I will say that. I felt like that could be a connection. There was chemistry there. How does the girl have more chemistry with your father than she has with you? Now, did you guys see Aaron's face after their salsa dancing? Aaron actually felt a type of way. Like, I think Aaron was probably thinking like, wow, you guys look like you're vibing. Where's this energy for me? Honestly, Aaron, I wish you would pick up your self-esteem from the floor. Jody does not like you. Jody is not into you. It is obvious. It is so clear. It's crystal clear. And I'm surprised that you're choosing not to see it. So I really do hope that you see it. Now let's talk about the big thing that really happened, and I want to dissect it. And this is when the guys talk about how they want to couple up and start sleeping with their partners as opposed to other people. The guys gas Aaron up now, and Aaron decided to move his bed in the middle of the night right next to Jody. Big mistake. Jody woke up the next morning. She was upset and talking about how she felt like, he didn't hold fast and hold strong to the boundaries that she had. She was really upset. She also talked about the fact that she had encountered abuse in the past. And that's why she decided to become a sexologist in the first place, right? And I will say something. She said something that I agree with. Now, for a second, I know a lot of people will be listening or watching that thinking, she does not like that man. I agree. I absolutely agree that she does not like that man. I even think she's playing with that man because she wants to be on the show. I really believe that. But at the same time, she had a boundary. Consent is very important. Aaron should not have crossed that boundary without consent. He should have had a conversation with her and said, Jody, this is how I'm feeling. I feel like we need to deepen our connection. We need to take it to the next level. We've not even explored anything. There is no passion here. I feel like we need to try something. That should have been a conversation, as opposed to her sleeping in the middle of the night and then you move the bed. What do you think this is? Then you try to kiss her on the forehead. Now, I will use myself as an example. a friend of mine was sleeping in my bed once, and she made the mistake of leaning and like touching me in some type of way in my sleep. Apparently, her words, not mine. I held her like she was trying to pull herself off me, but I held her tightly and I refused to let her hand go. That is a trauma response. Now, as someone who has experienced a lot of trauma, I understand how that was not my intention. I was just minding my business in bed. She moved and touched me, and that was all I needed. Even in my sleep, I'm fighting. And so I can understand from Jodie's perspective when she said he touched her and she was about to throw punches, right? Because that's a response. That might not even have been an intentional response, but it's a reflex action when you've been through some sort of abuse or traumatic experiences in your life. So I do feel that Aaron was wrong. Jodie doesn't like him, absolutely. But in any event, consent is key, guys. She has already told you what her boundaries are. You have no right to try crossing her boundaries without consent. Let's be honest. Whilst I know a lot of people don't like Jodie, rightfully so, but I feel like let's be fair on this. If it wasn't Jodie and it was a completely different woman and she said, I do not like to be touched, and explained all of the things that have happened in her life, you will not appreciate. You guys will call it for what it is. But I think because it's Jodie, I've been seeing a lot of comments about she just don't like that man. I agree she does not like that man, but it's not only about that. The last thing I want to talk about, which we'll dissect further in the next episode, is Millie and Greg's conversation with the therapist. Now, Millie expressed her trauma, and the therapist was there and was, trying to navigate that. And then Greg was also trying to express his trauma, and Millie pulled a huge face. It was given she feels like she's the only one that has the license to express her trauma. Now, I understand both perspectives, and I'll explain in a second. I understand from Millie's perspective how it can feel like I'm expressing what I've been through in this moment. Why not validate and acknowledge my trauma, and then we can talk about yours? But what it felt like for her was just like, we haven't even fully broken mine down and now you want to talk about yours. It felt like she probably felt like he was deflecting and trying to shut her up. Remember I said to you that Millie has this thing when she feels like she's not being heard, and I think that is what that is. That is her trauma response coming out. I really hope that she would go back and watch this show and really decide to go into therapy, because she really needs it. Now, I'm not going to say too much on this because I want to watch the full episode once it comes out so that we can break that down very clearly together. But let me know what your thoughts are about this episode in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, hit that subscribe button, and tap that bell button right next to it so you know every single time that I post. We are almost on 3,000 subscribers, so thank you very much for that. We're on 2,950. So please, let's hit that 3,000 before the end of May. Let us finish May strong. So if you want to support, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.